What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday. As you know, it is Wednesday, right? I am all messed up because I gotta be honest with you all. I thought that this was the first weekend or the first week of the new month, and so I was like, oh, it's a Gunpla stream. And then by the time I got everything set up, I realized that it's actually the second Wednesday of the month. Therefore, I shouldn't be streaming Gunpla. But I hope you all are doing well. I hope my audio is coming through all right. I will double check it all as always, just in case. Hope you guys are having a good week. This is one of those rare instances where I'm going to be a no-show on camera because I look a hot mess. I do believe that I've gone and caught the coof, as it were. I haven't taken my test yet, but you know, feeling a little run down, feeling a little raggedy. So you guys don't want to stare at my sick face. You know, we can just check out some sweet Gunpla. Howdy, everybody. Thank you for popping in. Just gonna double check my audio here, make sure that I'm sounding good before I go on. Very good. All right. I'm coming in loud and clear. All right. So you see, I've got a kit here on the table. This is what we're going to be working on this evening. I've made reference to this kit in previous Gunpla streams. I've got this kind of older high grade Bawu that I've always wanted to do something with, and I'll talk about why I want to make the changes that I do. But before we get into that, I want to give a slight update on the live stream from last week, where we went over this Zeta Gundam 1987 board game rule set. I actually have gotten the high-res scans of the manual up into my computer, and I've translated it enough to know how to play. And I had the rough idea correct, but I am going to be completing that translation, and then I will share the translated cards, the translated manual, all that stuff I'm going to make available to download so that if anybody wants to play, you know, they can do so. Howdy. Yes, thank you for the well wishes, and of course you're tired. You're running on hype from that Nintendo Direct. The other thing I wanted to share before hopping into Gunpla is this Gundam board game. This one came in like the day after the Zeta Gundam from 1987. This one's actually a 2020 board game. It's got some sweet features. I'm not gonna do, you know, a full unboxing video like I did for the that's the box, not me, by the way. But you know, it's got a 3D map of a Baoku, which I think is pretty freaking sweet. And I do have the instruction manual to this board game uploaded to my computer. I have the high-res scans on that. I've started translating it, but it's going to take a little bit longer because it is a story-driven board game, as opposed to the Zeta Gundam one, which is a little more competitive. But you know, I like the story-driven cooperative board games. I think that there should be more of them. So, without much further ado, we're going to talk about what I've got here, my Zawu Gundam, as it were. Yeah, I'm probably going to ask your guys' opinions on this because I think I've gotten a couple of options that I want to roll with, but you know, I got to decide which is better. These shoulder joints are incredibly loose that I need to tighten up. So, the few things that I wanted to kind of address about this particular Bawu kit are, I always thought that the Bawu Nutter, the lower half, when it's in its transformed mobile armor mode, looks kind of silly. It just kind of looks like a pair of legs spread out, which is stupid. So, because my buddy Tony hooked me up with, let me show you these here. My buddy Tony hooked me up with these ball joints. They're double ball joint pieces, and they come in a variety of sizes, but I'm only using 1/2 of the ball joint in order to attach these wings to the hips instead of to the backpack. You might recognize these as the wings that go on the back of the Bawu. So by doing that, we have made our Bawu Nutter a little less silly looking, because it actually has, you know, a pair of stabilizing wings that we can set up here on the sides. And I think that that looks much more compelling, much more threatening than just a pair of spread legs flying at you. So that was always something that annoyed me about the Bawu kit, and I hope that this will help. I might even drill in a couple of holes in the legs and add some more stabilizing fins to give it a more aerodynamic look, make it look a little bit more like an aircraft. So that is the first part of this customization. I don't think that that part of this custom is going to be up for debate. However, there are some things that I will take the chat under advisement and let you guys make the decision for me about whether this is going to be a slightly modified Camille Bidan custom Bawu, hence the Zeta Gundam head and the Zeta Gundam-esque wings. So, you know, because I attached those wings to the hips, I had to get a new pair of wings for the backpack, which is where this guy comes in. Now you can do, let's see, I don't know if I remember the full transformation process for the Bawu attacker, the top half of the Bawu, but we'll do our best. So I think, let's see. So I think we tuck the arms underneath. Oh, good timing. I assume you mean because the Nintendo Direct is over. Let's pop this guy off. We don't need the shield on. Let's twist this guy around. And then with these sort of mock Zeta wings, we can turn them around. Oh, the arm kind of got loose on me there. And there we go. We have our Bawu attacker. Actually, you know what? I don't know whether to keep the fins up or fins down. It's kind of funny that the Zeta head fits perfectly in the notch where the Bawu head goes. So yeah, the Bawu attacker looks just as cool as when it's got its own wings. See, and that's one of the things that I would have to fix is the floppy wing here. But I mean, this wing set actually came from a Kotobukiya, like, you know, third-party wing set, and I mean, it really is just the Zeta backpack if you put the centerpiece in. So, you know, that's sort of option A for this Bawu custom that we're working on. Let's highlight what option B would be, because, like I said, the lower half is going to stay the same. The upper half, on the other hand, if we were to keep it as a Xeon mobile suit, I don't think that those wings fit particularly well with Xeon aesthetic. Oh, hey, nice. I hope that you're... How do you pronounce it? Chi Gundam? I always say Chi, but I don't, you know. I also say Bawu, and I don't know if that's necessarily correct either. Oh, so yeah, one of the things that I had to do with that double ball joint is I actually had to shave the second half of the ball joint off and make it into a peg. So it's like a half peg, half ball in order to fit those wings on. So let's see if we can pop this Zeta head off without damaging it. The Zeta head is extremely tight. Oh my goodness. Well, I just got a Zeta splinter. Okay. See, I should have taken Pyro's advice and not sharpened my V-fins. Ow, jeez. That's okay. I have a spare Zeta V-fin. Of course I do. You guys know that I probably have 11 different Zeta Gundams sitting around here somewhere. So, if we are going to go back to the Xeon stylings and put in the regular Bawu head, which I think kind of fits in a little bit better than the Zeta anyway. I do like the way that the Zeta fits into that little notch perfectly, though. It's kind of cool. All right, let's make sure that's all fit on there. So, I've got these guys, which keen observers will recognize them as one of the IBO custom backpacks. I really just liked the color scheme on it, to be honest with you. And I have put in a couple of our ball joints. And I have to say that I think that these match Xeon styling very well. And they happen to fit perfectly into our Bawu backpack. So, our new Bawu attacker wouldn't feature any wings, but it would have these kind of added thruster packs, which I think are actually going to look pretty sweet. Let's see. I haven't tested to see what they look like when this is the obnoxious thing about, I love that this is one of the few HG kits that can transform without any parts, any additional parts, but as a result of that, it's kind of flimsy, and so you have to be kind of delicate with it. Let's see what we've got here. Wait, Magical Girl GM. What is this? What did I miss? Evander. All right. So I think that this is pretty damn cool looking. Let's put the body lock in here. So we put it up for a vote. Do we continue building this kit as a Xeon Bawu, or do we swap out the head and the wings and create the Zawu? G. So that's one vote for Zawu. Oh, and the added component to that is obviously if we go Xeon, we are going to equip him with the Bawu rifle. If we go with the Zeta Bawu, or Zawu for short, then we are going to take this build. Oh, geez, if I can get it out of here. What did I do? Oh, there we go. It's a slide in. I think that this beam rifle is a little more Zeta-esque. I think you guys would agree. So that's several votes for the Zawu. So let's go. Got half the head off. The only thing that kind of stinks about this Zeta head on the Bawu is it's got 0 range of motion up and down. It can move left and right, but it cannot move up and down. But I'll have to replace that V-fin that I just snapped off and broke into my finger. Oh yeah, this guy. I'm thinking I need to sew that onto a hat. So, do we go with the Zeta head and the added thruster backpack, or do we go with the Zeta-esque wings? You say combine the guns? Well, hi, Zevi. I appreciate you popping in. Gotta represent the Euro contingent. Oh. And that's, I guess, that's option A if we wanted to go with a more Zeta-esque beam rifle. Option B is we go with the Lightning Zeta beam rifle. So we got a couple options there. Now, of course, I can also go a little silly with it if you guys think so. And since I went ahead and broke my V-fin, I can replace it with, the Bawu head spike. I don't know how I would get that out of there. Oh, I see, it splits. Give me just a second here. It would make it seem like... Well, so the problem is that this is a real grade Zeta head, so it too has the transforming mechanic, and so that's why the V-fin actually comes in 2 parts. I don't even know if you can see that. And that's why it keeps popping out, which stinks. Wait. What's going on? You shouting out restream? Let's see here. Combine the thrusters and wings, you say? Yeah, I mean, I like when things look super aerodynamic. Man, this Bawu head is extremely delicate. I'm trying to just ever so gently split it apart. Because I do kind of dig the idea of giving him a command horn. Or, I do have copies of the Zeta Gundam V-fins as well. So, we have options there. And then the question is, do we... Now, I don't know if you guys have seen that there's an Amuro Ray custom Bawu floating on the internet somewhere. And they just kind of cut the wings of the shoulder joints off, which I thought was a weird choice. And so it looks a little bit more fetty. I have a slightly different idea, which is to take some of these Gunpla option parts and make sure that it's filed down well enough. Oh, I mean, we've got our shield here. Although I suppose we might want to swap this out for a more Zeta looking shield. We can do that. Oop. So maybe if we attach this on here somehow and kind of close up that gap. I don't know. I don't know if this will work the way I kind of wanted it to. I'd have to sand some things down and make it flush. But I think it could look pretty cool. Tiny, tiny drop of glue on the back of the connection joint to hold it in the hole without blocking the transformation. Wait a second. To hold what in the back of the hole? I don't know if I understand. I'm definitely going to add a couple of drops of glue to this peg because this is not going to fly, literally. See, and then this is where we would need another one of our ball joints. Actually, I don't think that any of these ball joints are going to work for me. This one's too small. Shoot, I was gonna plug it into this so that I could have my Zeta shield, and then it would clip onto the arm. Because this does not have a peg on him. But that's a pretty dope shield. That, and I wanted to test these guys. These are some new, let's see here. These are some new panel lining stencils that I got. Hobby Model Craft, Alexan Model, I guess. I don't know. But I think we're going to have some fun with these. I'm definitely going to fill in our little chest decoration with some putty because I don't like that debossed logo. Oh, messed up my little camera setup here. Where did I put the putty? Give me just a second. Whew, okay, thank you for babysitting the stream. We're gonna pop some putty in here. I honestly don't need a whole lot, so I'm gonna try not to waste a ton. Like that is literally all we need. Even this is actually probably going to be way too much. Normally I'm with you on that. Normally I don't panel line, but sometimes, you know, for me it's about practicing some skills that I don't often engage with. My experience in panel lining has always been quite negative. I could file it down, but then I'd be losing so much of the chest piece. I'm gonna fill it in with putty and then file it down afterwards, and then just get like a nice smooth finish on him. And I get to use my fancy scribing pen or pencil. Honestly, I could probably even use the putty for tightening up that joint on the wing that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's debossed as opposed to embossed. Otherwise, you're right. I would just file it down and then it would be good to go. Let's see. I need like a flat edge. Here we go. I'll just use the side of these tweezers and a largest base. Well, you could always just use oh yeah, sorry. I could probably need to move this a little closer. There we go. And it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to go back and, you know, file it down and sand it really well afterwards. But this is just to make sure that I don't have any leftover grooves. I don't think that they ever made a sleeves version of the, because there was a sleeves Bawu. I know that they made that premium Bandai Rebawu, but yeah, I think that that'll do. And then that way we're going to have a nice smooth surface. And if we don't, then I always have the option of we can upcycle some of my broken real grade Zeta and just replace the breastplate with that. Oh. So, let's see. Yeah, a large base for a 40k miniature scene. Yeah, I mean you could always go with any kind of cardboard or chipboard. Honestly, chipboard would be fantastic. Let me show you something that a buddy of mine made. I didn't go far. I'm right behind the camera. I'm just grabbing a couple of things off the old desk here. So when I mentioned making Gundam 5e and having a tabletop war game setup, a buddy of mine made these chipboard panels that you can actually, you know, they're supposed to be like a grass with streets and roads and stuff like that, and you can connect them to create various paths, which is really awesome. And it's pretty sturdy. So it's about yay thick. Let's see. Pop up the ruler here. Oh, millimeters. I mean, it's like 2 millimeters thick. So yeah, this would be awesome. And yeah, so and this is great, like customizable terrain, because like I said, it's inspired by, I forget what the game is called. It's like, it's not Ryujin, but it is a Japanese inspired game where the board is made up of these tiles and you play as like dragons, and the tiles have directions on them that you can go in, but they all interlink with each other and they kind of create these snaking pathways. It's really awesome, and it makes for a fun game. So let's see. This here is our loose wing. I'm just gonna add a little bit of putty on here. See if we can't thicken this up. I can always sand it down if it's too thick later. Which, I mean, it's 100% going to be too thick, but that's you know, it is easier to subtract than it is to add, as they say. And I don't think that you're ever going to really see this because it's, tucked behind the wing there. So it's okay if it looks a little sloppy. Although I'm wondering if I should have used green stuff. Because green stuff, this has that like slightly rubbery finish to it. I do have a little bit left over, so we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing that big project. Is it for a diorama or is it for some gaming terrain that you are building a 40K base? Let's just see if we can smooth that out a little. All right. Now we're going to play with some of these panel lining templates. See how they do. A real grade ashtray red frame. That sounds like a sweet kit. And one of the things that I think is actually going to help address my my loose joint problem on here is when I plastic cement up these shoulders. But all the same, I suppose we can, well, I don't want to clog these up with putty if, yeah, we'll play it by ear with that one. Alright, so the question is, what is going to be a good template to start off with, and where should I carve some panel lines? The legs are incredibly smooth here, so we might want to start with some of those. So we've got some, cutaways here where we've got some thrusters, vents, what have you. I guess we could put some on the reverse side. It might be kind of cool. I do like to use landmarks as best as I can so that I can, to the best of my ability, get them to look the same on both legs and be symmetrical. So I'm thinking that if I line up this this cutaway here, let's see if I can get a little closer on that. If I can line up that cutaway with the divot on there, should be good. Interdimensional scrapyard containing every... That sounds like some Dynasty Warriors Gundam stuff, and I am here for it. I mentioned on Discord that the SD Gundam game that they just announced for Switch actually looks like an SD version of Dynasty Warriors Gundam, and I think that that's cool. So I hope that this masking tape is strong enough to hold this in place. I suppose it doesn't need to hold it there forever. It just has to hold it long enough for me to get some pilot lines carved in. And it's like I could go in here with the pencil and do it that way, and then try and freehand it, but I just don't trust myself. Plus, what's the point of having a metal stencil if you're going to just use the pencil anyway? All right. Moment of truth. This particular scribing pen was purchased on gunprimer.com. Here's my little shameless plug. When it comes to like the few expensive Gunpla tools that I buy, I tend to go with Gunprimer. I have gotten 2 razors from them. One of them is over 3 years old and I still use it. You too can get yourself a Gunprimer razor 10% off using promo code Hatter. I probably ought to put a link in the description, huh? Let's see. You have to dodge old automated defenses and fight off confused bad and good guys from other universes. Mini boss. Yeah, I mean, that sounds exactly like Dynasty Warriors. Howdy, howdy. The tape is holding up pretty strong, which is great. I just wish that my camera was a little more focused. Maybe I need to, like, do this. All right. It's like plastic surgery or surgery on plastic. Oh, great. It looks terrible. Oh, man. This is where I like to go in with my larger tool here. I'm going to try and connect those lines across the top. And honestly, I think it looks bad because it's got the pencil, the graphite is kind of inside the grooves here. But apart from that, it actually might have turned out pretty well. Let me get it back in there with the scriber here. I need like a, I usually have a toothbrush around here to clean out these grooves. Mega Zaku. I really kind of want one of those mega sized Gundam kits. I think they only have the Zaku and the granddaddy, the RX-78. Is that correct? Somebody shout me down if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the 1/48th scale model kits only have a Zaku and an RX-78. See, and then once we've done that, we can like kind of. And I know I had a. Here it is. This might be a better way to get those pinpoints in there. I might use the tip of my the broken tip of my. You can tell that I've been doing this a lot because I broke the tip off of my hobby knife here. The people who can freehand panel lines using just a hobby knife are absolutely insane to me. But see, now that I have like those kind of pilot holes, I can. Ow! Let's see how many more times I can stab myself tonight. I'm gonna blame it on the coof. Looks good there, and make sure I'm getting dead center between those two. A little bit of filing. Yeah, so it's not a crazy, crazy amount of detail that I'm adding, just little things like this. And I probably disgust people with how deep I gouge my panel lines in. But I like to do that so that when I paint, you can still see them. There we go. Once I can go around the panel line with ease without slipping out of the groove, I know that I've done my due diligence when it comes to scribing it in there. Now the real trick is going to be getting it to be symmetrical on this side. Oh wow, that's a lot more mega size kits than I thought they made. They're just out here making mega size like crazy. Now I think it's a good thing that I left the tape on here, because now I know that I taped it down like this, which means if I want it to be symmetrical, I'm going to have to flip it over, because it's just ever so slightly off center. Alright, and like I said before, we're going to line up the tip of that line right there with the divot of the leg. Probably need stronger tape than this, to be honest with you. Or I need my hands to stop sweating. I hope that they eventually... GBO from Build Divers Reel. They could make a companion app where you scan. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like they'd have to release new versions of kits. I mean, because you really, at least from an AR perspective, there's only so many things you can do to where the app would still recognize what kit parts you were using. So you'd have to like scan like a QR code in the actual kit when you buy it, so that you have your parts. And then, you know, I'm wondering, do they make it to where the app can automatically generate the Gunpla that you're trying to build, or do they make it so that every Gunpla that you buy, you get those parts in the app that you can use, and then you'd have to create it from scratch in the app? That would probably be easier from a developer standpoint. But honestly, I thought that that's the kind of route that they were going when they started making those battle log kits. Is I thought that they were going to have like a companion app that goes with it and like make it a whole thing, but it was just a couple of real grade kits, and not even like new real grade kits. They were just recolors. Team Monstar. Huh. Well, that was weird. Hmm. And I see that I misread you. You did suggest having the. I thought you were talking about like literally just taking a picture of your Gunpla, and then the app would, you know, automatically create that kit in game, which is not impossible. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. It's not impossible. You know, it's the same way that like all those fancy Snapchat and Instagram filters work, is the AI is able to pick your face out because it knows where eyes and a nose and your mouth are, and so, you know, it can roughly estimate. And there's even I was really excited about A Realm, that D&D app that is, it's really designed for live streamers. It's designed to do what I always wanted to do when it comes to streaming D&D, which is instead of streaming just people sitting at a table, I wanted to use Adobe Character Animator, which has live character animating features. I used to do some videos in the past where, you know, it's like VTubers before VTubers existed. And you know, it allowed you to kind of wear an avatar face and stream that way. A Realm does that. You know, you can like wear a Dragonborn AR face while you're streaming, which is cool. But they kind of like, I think that they were a startup out of California, and they must have like run out of money because they seem to have just kind of said like, F it, we're not doing this anymore. Either that, or they kind of see the writing on the wall and they see that streaming D&D is not necessarily as popular as some people might have you believe. I think that there are certain groups that do a really good job of streaming D&D, but it's not for everybody, and it's not a spectator sport. Even the best D&D YouTubers are rarely very good on streams. So, God, that looks like a hot mess. We're gonna have to clean that up a lot. An in-game purchase where you buy an item like a kit in the game that you put together. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it basically kind of like Gundam Breaker 3, right? Where it's like in game you kind of collect the parts for those specific kits. Basically, all you're doing is adding in a code that allows you to bypass earning the kit in game and instead just taking the kit because you own it in real life. I think that actually lined up pretty well. Let's see once I get in here and really dig in. I don't know if you can just barely hear my dogs. I'm in the garage. I've been redesigning the studio in here. So, you know, that's why my desk is a mess, not because I am a sloppy, slovenly piece of trash. But I'm hoping to do more. It would be great if I can, you know, once I've got the scanned up and translated versions of those Gundam rulebooks, I would love to stream a couple of games of that. Especially because I can show off my Gundam miniature collection. And there's just a lot of cool things that I'm trying to set up in here. I posted on Discord about I might have posted it on my Instagram as well, but I don't think I did. The EL wire. Again, my man Tony always hooking me up. You know, he hooked me up with those ball joints. He also hooked me up with a set of EL wires. And I really want to use them for funnel effect parts, because I think that'd be freaking awesome. I see some of the coolest Gundam. Yeah, I'm talking about you buy it, but you either buy a pre-made kit in game, design a kit, and pay a little more because a completely custom kit for you. Oh wow, that'd be. So you're almost talking about doing it the inverse way, like instead of getting parts for the game by buying real life Gunpla, you're talking about getting a custom Gunpla sent to you using the parts that you buy in game. That's not a bad idea, honestly. I mean, not a bad idea for Bandai, because I mean, imagine how much money they could make. And that's assuming that everyone who builds a kit in game is going to want the parts. Not necessarily all of them will want that. Of course, it depends, whether the gameplay is good or not. Like Gundam Breaker Mobile is a fun kind of gotcha, but most people only use Gundam Breaker Mobile specifically just to like build and paint kits. They don't actually like play the game. I don't think, I might have spammed buttons, but I don't think that I actually ever played matches in that game. And heck, even as much as I love Gundam Breaker 3, the gameplay in that, after a certain point, like once you start unlocking, some of the special abilities and funnels and stuff like that, there's almost like no point in carrying weapons. I don't know. I don't think I've ever streamed Gundam Breaker 3, but I have a specialty Gunpla in Gundam Breaker 3 that I call the Prince Glemmy. It is so it's got Zazabi's backpack, so it's got the Zazabi funnels. It's got Kshatriya's wings, so it's got Kshatriya's funnels. And then it's also got, a couple of hyper mega particle cannons plugged into the chest, one in the chest and one in the head. It's got the like ghost bullets effect or whatever, 2 versions of that. So basically I'm just kind of running around in the game and mashing the funnels button and letting them do all the dirty work for me. I don't actually do any fighting or get my hands dirty. Which, as much as I love Gundam Breaker 3, that's not exactly exciting gameplay. And the heads-up display is like so cluttered and there's so much going on screen at once that it's like you really don't even know what you're doing anyway. There we go. I think that's looking pretty sweet. Probably need to gouge these out a little bit more. Let's clean that up. There we go. So, I have to say, let's see. Can I get the camera to focus on them? Not bad. These little stencils. This one looks a little taller, which is kind of weird. But I think that'll work. Those will play. Well, we've been going at it for an hour. I'm probably going to go ahead and call that the stream. I appreciate your guys' help in, putting together the Zawu. And hopefully it will live up to expectations. I need to find something to do with this Bawu head now that we're not going to use it. I honestly think it'd be kind of cool to take off this sticker and replace it with, like a Zeta Gundam's eyes, because they would still show on either side of the Bawu head. I don't know. We'll find something to do with it. Rest assured. But yeah. Let's go ahead and call it there, and I will fill you guys in with updates on this as I progress. I can post images on Instagram and Discord and all that good stuff so that you guys can see how it comes together. the unofficially named Zawu Gundam, or Rizawu. I don't know. Still taking votes on the name for it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you had fun. Hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. I will let you know if I do turn out to have the coof, and if it turns for the worst, I will leave all of my Gunpla to Ultronymous. If you're still watching, you're gonna get the whole kit collection, and yeah, I will catch you all later. The beta Gundam. The Baweta. Yeah, would it be the beta or the Zawu? That's the real question. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you have a good rest of your evening, and I will catch you next week.